Good evening and welcome to our regular monthly meeting. Today is October the 14th, 2015, and we always begin with a prayer. And I will ask Director Husson to lead us in prayer and Director Martin to lead the pledge to the American and Texas flag.
Thank you, please. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day we have together in this great country. We just thank you for all our law enforcement people and our emergency responders in our community. Please keep them safe. We just thank you for all the blessings you give us. Give us everyone here safe travel home. Just keep your hand of protection on us. In Jesus' name, amen.
You join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay, the first item on our agenda this evening is to consider comments from members of the audience, and we have two signed up to speak. First we have Liz Mullane. Hello, Ms. Liz.
Good evening, how are you guys? Is my mic on? Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you again for considering Roman Forest for one of the splash pads. I know you guys have a big decision to make tonight, and appreciate the consideration of Roman Forest being a part of that. And I also want to assure you that the people that visit our park and pool area are more than just our residents. Excuse me, I feel like it's at least 50% or more that come to visit our area for our park and pool. So with that being said, I think it would be a great asset to the area and would be enjoyed by all these Montgomery County. Excuse me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And next we have Kate Gill.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight, not as an official representative, but to tell you a little bit about an organization that I'm a part of, and I think it's something that East Montgomery County needs to know about. Brenda and I got started talking about it at an event once, and we thought, hey, there's a connection that needs to be made. And I am on the distribution committee of the Montgomery County Community Foundation. The Montgomery County Community Foundation is one of the unsung heroes in our county. It is a charity that does very little to really talk about itself, but does some really cool things and has some neat opportunities, I think, for people in eastern Montgomery County. What Montgomery County Community Foundation does is there are a number of community foundations that exist in the state of Texas, and some of you who've been involved in other places may have been familiar with them. But what they do is that they take specific bequests or specific donations, and they for instance, if you have someone who in a bequest wants to leave a bequest of $50,000 to help people who are in need of emergency assistance, of just temporary short-term financial assistance. But it would be impossible to put that into a trust and expect for that $50,000 to last very long, because a lot of it would be taken up by fees by the trustees and the bank and that type of thing. And what Montgomery County Community Foundation does is Montgomery County Community Foundation takes those funds and invests them for that purpose, never touching the corpus. And then it raises its own money to take care of the fees and costs associated with growing that money and using only the proceeds of the investments for that purpose, so that the corpus continues to grow and grow and grow. And every year, Montgomery County Community Foundation, because of that model, donates more and more money back to our community and back to the charities of our county at no cost to the actual donation, which is a really, really cool thing. And what we have is we have a number of funds that are set up to meet, I think, some of the needs that exist all over Montgomery County, but in particular in East Montgomery County. And here's where I think a connection can be made. I know that you have a number of 501c3 organizations who may come to you, but because their reach goes beyond the East the East Montgomery County Improvement District, they're not a good fit for funds that you might donate. That might be somewhere that you could send them to the Montgomery County Community Foundation and say, we're not a good fit, but we have someone who is. And so I'd really like for that connection to be made so that you could be a good referral source. Because I do think that, unlike some areas of Montgomery County, Eastern Montgomery County has, I know from living here for 11 years and from dealing with the Justice of the Peace Court out here for a long time and dealing with cases that come out of this part of the county, that there are some needs over here that may not be being met. And I think that there are funds out there to do that. And so when Brent and I got to talking about it just completely randomly at another event, we just both got really excited and we're like, what if we could make this connection? And so I would encourage all of you to learn more about the Montgomery County Community Foundation. And who knows, you may have an organization, someone who comes in and says, look, I've got this money that we want to use for charitable purposes, but it's not enough to really start a foundation. And you could say, man, do we have the group for you? Because we can earmark funds for a certain area of the county. You can even do things as specific as to say, I want to meet the needs. We've got a fund that is designed solely to meet the unmet needs of elementary school teachers in a single elementary school. Now, does that fund donate $100,000 to that elementary school every year? No, it doesn't. Sometimes it's only a couple of thousand. But man, when you've got students that need Kleenex, tissues, and such that, it's a big help. So I'm honored to be here tonight and to meet with all of you. I am also a candidate for judge of the 9th District Court, which is a countywide race, so I'd appreciate your support there. But please consider Montgomery County Community Foundation and learn more about it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, the next item is to consider and act upon approval of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting held on September 16th, 2015. That's the 5:30 meeting, and the September 16th, 2015, that was the 6:30 meeting, and September 28th, 2015. So we would need a motion to accept the minutes.
So move. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Director Ibarra and a second by Director Hessen. Is there any discussion on the matter?
Are you talking about the 28th also?
Yes.
Because I double checked my calendar and I'm pretty sure I was not in attendance at that meeting. And I think the minutes reflect that I was. So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Yeah, that was at the new meeting. You are correct. So we can approve it with that change?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any further discussion? Can we do them all three at one time, David?
Yes.
Okay. So it's for all three? Okay.
I have to abstain since I wasn't at one.
You can abstain if you want to, it's not required.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Okay. And against? And abstentions?
abstaining because I wasn't at one.
Okay.
Which one are you abstaining?
I wasn't at the September 16th.
So just that one?
Just that one. If I could vote for the other one, I would.
Yes. We'll move forward that way.
The next item is to consider approval of audit report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2015.
And we should have that ready for you at the next board meeting. They just about finished up everything. We go through one more review process and then it'll be ready for you guys. So it should be on the agenda for next month for the audit for the improvement district.
The next item is to consider financial, bookkeeping, cash flow, and investment reports and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith, including authorizing the payment of invoices presented and or shown in such reports. Good evening, Ms. Kay.
Good evening. I believe you all have a supplemental report. If you had a chance to look at it, we'll just go briefly through it. You have a total in your operating account of $7,692,552.45. The capital projects of $95,270.56. Debt service of $1,028,328.67. In your reserve, you have $555,000, and in your event, $65,319.74, for a total of all funds of $9,436,471.42. The next two pages are your summary of CDs, and there was only one change. You can see on page 5. Page 5, we had a deposit into the hotel motel account, which was not on the previous report, for $8,000. Turn the page before I told you. $8,102.72. Then on page 6, we have our cash flow from the previous report. You had a balance forward of $691,610.76. You have checks presented tonight, checks 12,392 through 12,403, totaling $66,829.46, leaving $624,781.30 in the checking account. There were no receipts since the last report. The budget versus actual follows on the next 3 pages, and the only changes on that would be the checks that you signed tonight, which would update that report, and the rest of the report is unchanged. There may, so maybe on page 13 on your balance sheet would be just updated by those invoices as well. And that is all my report. If there's any questions, I'm glad to answer.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So we would need a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
We have a motion. Okay, so we have a motion by Director Carlisle and a second. I heard Director Pearson. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Dale, or you? No, thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Dale. Okay, the next item is to consider authorizing funding for Constable Patrol Security Program at shopping centers within the district during the holiday season and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith.
And just to summarize for you guys, this was our annual program we have every year. We got a couple guys from the constable's office here this evening. Barry and Rowdy both had to be out of town or else they would be here. One of the things different in the request this year is they mentioned to me one of the strategies that they employ when they're at Walmart or different shopping areas in our district. We're wanting to expand the scope of that to also take in the North Park location this year, where the Kroger is, because we're seeing more incidents happening down in that area. And one of the things, one of the strategies that they employ is they may take a car with them, park a car, and then the patrol officer may be on the bike. So it appears there could be 2 people there. No one's going in and looking in the car, see if someone's in it, but it gives them a better presence. So part of the funding this year, they did want me to inquire if you guys, they're asking for 2 bikes. And each bike is about $1,000. I upped the budget number this year. I think it's, within the scope of what we're doing, but they were asking for 2 more bikes. And I'm like, well, I can bring it to you guys and see what your thoughts are, but I think it's a good use of the resources if it appears to the community that there's more officers there than what there really is. Of course, we don't want to tell everybody that, but, here we are. But in any event, that was what Rowdy and Barry had asked me about. And every time I go down there, I see Barry on the bike. So, he's pretty dang mobile. But anyway, that's part of what I wanted to come to you guys with. The program will start on October the 15th and run through January the 15th. So we expanded the time frame last year to kind of incorporate, the Thanksgiving, preliminary shopping going on, and then all the returns going back in January. So that's the time frame of the funding, and then we want to include the funding for the 2 bikes this year. But I want to be sure you're all aware of that and you're comfortable with that.
Do we need a motion to change that?
It's already approved in the budget. We have $50,000 allocated for the program in the budget for this year.
So is that just information, do we need to make a motion to accept that?
Well, we never really considered a bike. We always knew this was for personnel resources and reimbursing the officers for the time. So I thought it was important for y'all to understand, if you're interested in doing this, that it does involve 2 bicycles. So just so you know that, and then you're like, where do the bikes go from? So
I thought you were going to ask us for 2 cars.
No.
So no motion is needed?
Yes, ma'am.
Frank, the money for the bike is coming out of the 50,000.
That is correct. Yeah, two bicycles is what they requested, so they can have more of a mobile presence and be more visible on those sites.
I'd say it was money well spent.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. So when we receive that invoice, at least y'all will know what it is, and we'll get back. You guys will tell Rowdy and Barry to get their helmet and get ready to pedal.
Yeah, and we couldn't tell you how much we appreciate the support you guys give us, especially with the bicycles. You know, we just sent 5 more officers to the bike certification program. We have some bicycles already in our fleet, but they're older bicycles. Some of them were here when Constable took office. They're in pretty rough shape, so the addition of 2 new bicycles will go a long way towards helping us fulfill that obligation of that extra patrol. So, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
So we need a motion?
I don't think, do we need it?
Just let's go ahead and put it in.
Okay.
I make a motion that we add the 2 bikes and accept the funding.
Okay. So we have a motion by Director Carlisle,
Second.
and a second by Director Hessen. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, and are there any announcements? Martin, did you want to speak on the Go Texan event on Saturday?
Oh yes, Saturday morning at Post Office Park, we're having our Go Texan Fall Festival. It's going to be chili and bean cook-off. Plus we're going to have several choirs from the different elementary schools show up, and they're having a jump rope contest. It'll be something that's going on all day long.
And also on Saturday, we have our community event at Post Office Park at 5:30. Of the presentation. Any other announcements? Okay. Before we recess, I just would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for being here, taking the time out of your day. We really appreciate it. Pray you have a safe journey. So we will recess to executive session to discuss real property matters pursuant to section 551.072 Texas Government Code, pending or contemplated litigation pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code, matters in which the duty of the attorney to the district under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. Thank you. Pursuant to Section 551.071 Texas Government Code, personnel matters pursuant to Section 551.074 Texas Government Code, and economic development negotiations pursuant to Section 551.087 Texas Government Code, and we are in recess at 6:48. Okay, we are back, and it is 8:18. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to consider the status of modifications to development agreement and status of preparation of second amended and restated economic development agreement by and among Sig Valley Ranch Limited, Valley Ranch Town Center Limited, East Montgomery County Improvement District, Economic Development Zone Number 1 in the district, and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith.
Just to kind of give you an update there, we'll have that will require a zone meeting and also a board meeting to take some action on that. I think we'll set that up for next month in November to take those actions and make those modifications to the agreement.
Okay. All right, the next item is to consider status of the development of the district's 12.85 acre site, including the construction of improvements and the leasing of space in the district's office building, and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith, including status of condemnation by TxDOT relative to Grand Parkway.
And just to kind of give you an update there, we do have a proposed court date set for next May. And as we move forward, second.
We got that vote.
Yeah.
We got first. It was supposed to be October.
Yes, but the last email I got has a proposed date for next May for the hearing in McGregor County. So we did have an October hearing and it got moved to next May. So that's kind of where we are right now. So.
All right, the next item is to consider report on activities within the industrial park and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith, including status of sale of dirt at a future detention pond, including status of contract with TDG for excavation and delivery of dirt, status of contract with Quadvest Construction for construction of roads to serve Section 3, approval of plans and specifications and authorized advertisement for bids relative to construction of roads to serve Section 4. Status of plat of Section 3 and Section 4. Status of contract with Quadvest Construction for construction of wastewater lift station. Status of contract with Quadvest for water distribution and wastewater collection facilities to serve Industrial Park Section 3. Review bids and authorize award of contract for installation of signage. Approve conveyance of easements and sites to East Montgomery County BUD number 3 relative to construction of utilities in the industrial park. And that's it. Mr. Joe?
Okay. I'll take things with range. The dirt contract, I know that, Rebel has talked to, Rudy Garcia with Dallas Trading. So they're negotiating, it's dried up enough, I guess they'll get started on it, hopefully. And that's all I can tell you, because we're kind of, on the sideline of that. That's between those guys. Quadvest, Section 3, the roads, of course, you gotta wait on the ditch for the roads, for the lift station and the force main and the water and sewer lines. The ditch contract, I'll tell you, it's not on your agenda, but the ditch contract's going good. They've about finished all the clearing. As soon as they finish the clearing, we'll get Quadvest in to build a lift station, and we'll do the force main that he needs to. The Section 4 contracts, we kind of put all that on hold because of the nature of trying to sell the land up there, because we're constantly cutting out different parcels and don't know where it's all going to end up till it ends up. And once that's done, then we've laid out the road, the preliminary part, but don't really want to bid it until you know exactly who's going up there and how much acreage you're going to want. So that, it's ongoing. I'm going to skip the sign, and I'll tell you about it in just a minute, but the easements, we sent David a bunch of easements for the ditch that you'll have to, I guess they'll have to approve it.
I think, if you all are comfortable, there's 13 easements involved in this drainage and detention projects and the road projects. So we received the descriptions, we sent them out for title. As soon as we get them back, we'll prepare the documents that you all would authorize Frank to sign those. It's basically ranking all those easements to the MUD so that those facilities can get built there.
Most of the easements are contained in roads. It's land you own now. You haven't conveyed it to anybody or done any roads. But it's just to clean it up and to, before we get the plat signed by the county, they require all the easements and stuff. Once it's done, it'll all be conveyed to the district, to the MUD out there. But that's all it is.
So we should motion to authorize Frank to sign those conveyances, those easements.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Director Pearson and a second by Director Carlisle. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
All right. The construction's going pretty good overall. It's a little bit slower than normal because of some other things, but it's going okay. It'll be ready. Now, going back to the sign, item G, we were supposed to have taken bids last Wednesday. That's the date we had issued to everybody. Wednesday rolled around, we had 3 pickups. A local guy and a national sign company, National Signs. Nobody made it up there by the bid. So we called the local guy. And he said, well, you got a requirement, you got to put up a bid bond or a cashier's check. I couldn't get my bank to cut the cashier's check down. National Signs, we called them, and they said, we just flat forgot about it. We needed to bid this. So what we did, I went ahead, I know you want the sign bid, so we went ahead and just advertised. We couldn't couldn't extend the bid because the bid had closed. They can't legally extend it after it's closed. So I went ahead and re-advertised in the Courier and 2 local papers up here, and not in the Chronicle, because I don't think you need that exposure again. It's $2,400 top of that, so it's like $500 re-advertised. So we're taking bids next Wednesday, I believe, again. We will stay on these people and make sure we get a bid.
Okay.
So, I mean, the sign has been a real challenge.
People are not interested in it, or what?
I'm sorry?
People, they're just not interested in it?
No, they are interested. I think that's the honest explanation for both of them. The guy called, the local guy, and I remember this sign is going to do good on me tonight, but he called us several times, asked questions. So I want to bid it. He said, what about this bid bond? I said, well, you know, we got a bid bond or a cashier tag, 10% of the bid, that's the rule. He said, I'll get your cashier tag. You know, if he's not the low bidder, we give him a check back. But in National Signs, I think they were being honest. They just flat forgot about it. You know, there was a big time coming, put to the side. So, but we will get some bids next time. Feel pretty confident that I'm gonna buy a piece of land next to the sign, and that'll be my burial plot.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Joe? All right,
That's it.
thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, the next item is to the status of incentive agreement and purchase and sale agreement relative to purchase of 20-acre site by Command Energy.
No action on that item today.
Okay. Next item is status of incentive agreement relative to Keystone expansion project.
And, sorry about the notes here. Originally, we had an agreement with Keystone. They were going to double the size of their facility, and then they were looking for a rail serve site. We talked about that before. Now they're back to ready to expand the facility at where they are. So they're going to build an additional 80,000 square foot building, and we want to go ahead and provide $40,000 in incentive funds for them upon completion. And at the same time, we want them to begin construction before December of this year. So they said they were going to start a couple times, and then they didn't start. So we're going to provide these funds like we originally agreed to, but give them a shorter time frame to get started. And now they've told me they've got their plans, they need to get the site prepared, and they've got everything put together. They're ready to go now. So we need to give them until December of this year to get started, or that offer goes away. And I think that will be enough to get them to go ahead and push forward and get everything under construction by the end of December. So that's what we like to do with our agreement with them.
Okay, so we don't need to take any action on that.
We do, because their agreement had expired because they didn't begin their construction with our previous agreement. So we do need to do this with them, and I think prompt them to get going or lose these funds. So we want to extend them $40,000 toward the project, 80,000 square foot building, and they need to begin before the end of December of this year.
Okay, could we do that as a motion to extend the original incentive agreement, David?
Well, we don't have an exact agreement.
Okay, since it expired, okay.
So this would be to approve this consent.
Okay, so we would need a motion then to approve the incentive agreement.
So moved as stated with the 40,000 extended to build the 80,000 square foot on site with construction to start in December.
Okay. A motion by Director Pearson,
Second.
a second by Director Hessen. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, the next item is review and approve incentive agreement with T-Row Inc. or assignees and authorize preparation of purchase and sale agreement relative to purchase of approximately 4-acre site.
And this is a project currently located outside the district, moving into the district, located out on 1485 West. Looking to come to the improvement district. They currently have 8 employees and adding another 5 over the next 2 years. Minimum 10,000 square foot building, and some other negotiations with them, but we want to go ahead and extend them the ability of moving to the industrial park.
Okay, so we would need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Rivera and a second by Director Zepeda. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next one is review and approve incentive agreement with Coastal Foods or assignees and authorize preparation of purchase and sale agreement relative to purchase of site.
And once again, this is company located in the Humble area, looking to move up to the industrial park, approximately 200, 300 jobs, baking operation, and providing some incentives for them to come to the industrial park. Just like to go ahead and extend that to them and see if we can get a real estate contract consummated with them.
Okay, so we would need a motion. Okay, we have a motion by Director Carlisle
I'll second.
and a second by Director Pearson. Anybody any questions or any conversation on it?
Well, I'm proud to bring that many jobs to East Montgomery County.
Absolutely.
I think we've frankly done a really good job on it.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next one is status of incentive agreement with E-Controls.
And nothing going on with him. He took off on me to New Zealand for 3 weeks. He's on a mission trip. So I lost him for a while. So we got to get back and get those documents to him. But we lost him for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
So we'll follow up and try to get him closed in the next 30 days or so.
All right. Next item is to consider designating sites for splash pad projects and authorize preparation of agreements for conveyance of sites to the district and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith.
And once again, these are the sites that we identified in the area. First off being Valley Ranch, and that they're not ready for us. So you guys might want to consider looking at going ahead and moving forward with either Splendor or Roman Forest and getting those projects started and start putting these amenities into our community.
We no action for tonight.
What I would suggest you do tonight is if you're going to proceed with one or both of them, authorize Frank to open negotiations with the two cities to negotiate for a site and to begin preparation plans for building on that site.
Okay. So we would need a motion.
So moved, we authorized Frank to negotiate with both the City of Splendor and City of Roman Forest for a site on which to place these splash pads.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Pearson and a second by Director Carlisle. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is to consider status of economic development projects, including the status of incentive agreement with Royal Purple.
Nothing to report there. The agreement is with them, and they're working through some internal communications with their companies as to when they're going to begin starting. But we're just waiting on them at this point.
Okay. Status of incentive agreement with Saints and Sinners Brewing Company.
And if you go by there, he's got his tanks in, and stop by and say hello. I don't think his product is ready yet, but he's working toward having a product, but not yet. So things are going well.
No samples ready.
No samples yet.
Status of incentive agreement with Splendor 2090 Property LLC or its assignees.
And nothing going on with them right now. You see, they're under construction and currently moving forward on getting their new station constructed off of 2090. So nothing to report on them.
Okay. Status of incentive agreement with Porter Quick Car Wash LLC or Porter Quick Car LLC or its assignees.
And we've closed on all of our agreements with Porter Quick Car Wash for their expansion. And just finalized closing and signing all the documents last week. And you should start seeing some construction going on with them for the loan funds and from the improvement district funds that were included in an incentive agreement for them to hire some more individuals and expand their site. So you should see some stuff going on in the next 30 days or so.
They already cleared all the tanks.
Yeah. So not everybody looks over there. So just so you know, next time you drive by, just kind of glance over there and you're like, oh, there, that's what's going on.
Keeping our police cars clean.
Yeah. Approval of incentive agreement with RREILP relative to new service center in the district
And this is for a service center with Planet Ford, Randall Reed. This is, the company's name is RE1, REIE, and they're looking at putting in a car service center to include a car wash and ancillary items to be sold, and looking to start that project here in the next few months.
Okay, so we would need a motion.
So,
Having a motion by Director Carlisle,
Second.
second by Director Hudson. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Approval of incentive agreement with Wellspring Midwifery Care and Birth Center relative to new facility in the district.
And this, Dale, you're cracking me up. Okay. Dale. I'm sorry.
Is he asking for a Disney party?
Dale, you're funny. In any event, we don't have this type of facility in our area, and absolutely additional medical care is one of the things you guys have said has been very important for our community in the future. So this company is currently looking at moving in off of Russell Palmer, behind where the old Encino car wash is. It's renamed a different car wash, but first building on the right-hand side as you go down Russell Palmer. So Midwifery Care and Birth Center is looking at coming to the district, and they're currently under construction and hoping to be open by December. So just want to get their agreement approved by you guys so we can help them get open as soon as possible. Because Dale's wife may need it.
I feel it's might be so moved.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Director Pearson and a second by Director Martin. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is to consider adoption of policy regarding advertising in the district publications and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith.
I'll make a motion that we do not allow advertising in our newsletter.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Was that a second, Director Martin?
I think Dr. Pierce needed to.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion by Director Carlisle and a second by Director Pearson. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is to consider acceptance of nominations for Outstanding Citizen Recognition Award and the taking of any actions required in connection therewith.
And just to update you guys, we did have one nominee, and we acted on that the last board meeting. And just to update those of you who were not here, Sterling Cook. And I think at the appropriate time, we'll set out an award ceremony and get that presented to him and have him recognized for our community for doing some great things with our community. So just to kind of give you an update, that's kind of where we are with that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Frank, did we decide we were going to do that every quarter?
I thought originally we were taking applications every quarter, and then we were going to do the award twice a year. I think that's where we ended up. The nomination does say quarterly acceptance of nominations, but I think you guys had said twice a year was kind of when we were going to actually recognize individuals. So if you have anyone else, get them to us. The sooner the better, and we'll hang on to them and make sure it's ready to be presented to you guys when it's time to be presented. So.
Consider matters for possible placement on future agendas. Okay. If there are none, then we are adjourned at 8:39.